Can see my screen all right. Um, as JJ mentioned, I'm Tyler Wallen with Strand Associates. I'm the project manager for this project. Thanks for coming to this informational meeting for the 2024 Street Rehabilitation Project for the Village of Cottage Grove. Just have a few slides for you here. There will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end. So we'll just hopefully I can answer most of your questions here. And then if there's anything remaining, we'll get to them at the end. So all right, so just a little overview. There we go. So this is the neighborhood that the project will be occurring in, and if you got an invite to this meeting, that means you probably live in this neighborhood. Um, in general, the contractor has provided a two-phased construction schedule. You can kind of see that here in the orange and blue. The first phase, where the work will generally be completed first, is West Oak Street, west of West Lawn Drive, West Lawn Drive, north of Oak Street, Cresthaven Drive, north of Oak Street, Woodview Drive, and then West Lawn Circle here as well. And then phase two is West Lawn Drive, south of Oak, Fox Circle, Chestnut Crest, Terrace Ridge Drive, Cresthaven south of Oak, and then Crawford Drive. So in general, the work will be occurring in the orange streets first, but I'll kind of explain that a little bit here in a bit. As far as project personnel, the general contractor is Payne and Dolan. They're going to be doing most of the asphalt work. The concrete subcontractor is Schultz, and the grading subcontractor is McGuire. As I mentioned, we're with Strand Associates. We're the village engineer. So no, we're not actually the contractor. We're not going to be the ones actually doing the work, but we will have a representative on site periodically. So if you see anybody with a Strand hard hat or vest on, feel free to come up and talk to one of us. We can try to address your questions on site as well. Just as a side note, I wanted to mention this. The contractor has mentioned that they will not be taking on any private work as part of this project. They're just too busy this year. So just conveying that message as well. A little background about the project. So depending on where you lived, the subdivision was generally constructed between the early 80s and 90s. Over time, the concrete sidewalk, driveway aprons, curb and gutter has started to fail due to various reasons. Cracking leads to water getting in and further cracking, snow plowing, tree roots causing heaving of concrete. In addition, asphalt pavement is in need of maintenance at this time. Hasn't really seen a large maintenance project throughout its life, so it's held up pretty well, but it's time to do some maintenance on it. The existing curb ramps aren't compliant with ADA standards, so we're looking to address that. Some of the storm drains are in poor condition, and this is an opportunity to replace those. Additionally, the concrete will be spot replaced in areas. So there's a few different types of concrete failure we tried to adjust this project. One is heaving, like I mentioned, due to tree roots. So that's one where the concrete actually has a vertical deflection. That's a tripping hazard. It's an ADA non-compliance issue. So we're trying to address any of those. Also like larger cracks, so 1/2 inch or larger, water can get in there, it further degrades the pavement. And then otherwise just large chunks of curb that come off due to snow plowing. It just further gets worse each time. So then the asphalt pavement, to address that, it'll be pulverized, regraded, and repaved. I'll kind of describe what that process is like in the next slide. But in general, the work is similar to last year's Crawford Street project. So here's a general order of operations provided by the contractor. Again, we got an early schedule. But this is generally the order that they said they would be doing the work. So first they'll come in and spot remove concrete curbs and gutters, driveways and sidewalks. Then they will replace the concrete driveways and sidewalks. The contractor already mentioned, they're going to do their best to limit the amount of time any driveway is inaccessible. So they'll be doing that kind of in phases throughout. Then they'll replace and repair the storm inlets, the curb and gutter after that. And then they'll restore all the areas that were disturbed with topsoil, seed, fertilizer. Due to having to work with the concrete, they have to remove some grass. And then after that, they'll go through and pulverize the asphalt. So what that is they'll take a machine, they'll grind up all the asphalt, they'll mix it in with some of the base course, then they'll grade it and shape it. So at this time, the road's going to look like a gravel road. So during that time, it'll still be passable, but it's not going to be a paved road anymore. And then after that, they'll grade it, they'll shape it, and then they'll pave it with new pavement. In general, the working hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Can't tell you how many Saturdays they're going to be working, but that is the general working hours. Throughout the project, mail delivery and garbage pickup will be maintained. The contractor said that they were going to be working with the residents as well as those two services to make sure that they try to do their best to keep that going. So here's a little map for you guys. As I mentioned, there's kind of two phases. So I wanted to kind of illustrate what's going to be happening and when. Um, so as I mentioned, the concrete work is generally going to be happening first. So when the concrete work is happening, the roads will still be able to be driven on, they'll be able to be parked on. There may be a few inconveniences where you may have to move because the concrete truck's coming in or they're removing some curb or removing some sidewalk, but the roads will still be generally drivable and parkable. They will be open to emergency traffic and local traffic throughout construction. You may see some signs popping up that say local traffic only. The contractor will notify residents prior to driveway removal, so you can get out and park on the street. And then once that pulverizing and that grading operation starts to happen, that's when the street parking will be limited, and you can see that in the orange areas here. That at that time we'd ask that you would park in your driveway. So with the concrete being done, the driveway should be ready to go. You can park back in the driveway. And then there'll be paving after that. So the green areas are the areas that are not going to be in a gravel state at the same time as the orange ones. So those, if you do have to park on the street, can park in any of those green areas. I recognize, this is an inconvenience, but we're hoping that we can utilize as much of the driveway parking in that, and it really shouldn't be that long of a time frame when they're grading and paving. So same thing here. Similarly, this is what phase 2 looks like. So it's just the opposite. So the streets in blue will be done generally second. So if you live on one of these streets, you can kind of see where that falls on the map. But the same kind of operations will happen there. The concrete work will come first. They'll come through, they'll do that. Then they'll come and pulverize and grade it and then pave it. So at that time, then the green streets here will be available to park on. So I did want to mention that this is a preliminary schedule. So we're going to be providing updates periodically throughout the summer at the village website. So I am going to navigate to that. I could just follow this link, but I kind of want to show you how to get there. So I'm going to temporarily stop sharing, and then I'll share my internet. Okay, you guys can see my screen again. This is the village website. So you'll just go to Discover Cottage Grove, Village Projects, and then you'll go over to Public Works Projects here on the left. And then there's only one this year, and it's this 2024 street and parking lot rehabilitation. And right now it's just kind of got a general list of the streets, but there will be updates here throughout the summer. You can see the plans as well as the letter that you all received. So this is kind of going to be your main point of contact to find updates on the project. So I'll just go back to this, if you guys can see this now. Yep. So that's the web address there. And then I believe my last slideshow is questions. Yes. So open it up to general questions. I do have my email and my phone number on there, as well as JJ's. If you got a specific question like about your driveway or your sidewalk or something, I mean, if it would maybe be better to do it via email, that would be appreciated. We do have a good amount of people on here, but if we do have some general questions about things about the project that we can answer today, we'll take them at this time. Unless JJ, you have anything else to add? Otherwise, we can open it up.
Nope, great job, Ty. I think you covered everything. So, yep. Any questions?
Yes, I have one question. You said the first phase would be the ones in orange in the second phase.
Mhm.
What dates are they going to be approximately? The
I'll
first
I'll jump
phase.
in first, Ty.
Okay. Yep.
We hesitate to even put that out there just because the contractor does give us a schedule, but I have never seen a project that sticks to it um, to the T because we get 2 wet days followed by, something happens on one of their other jobs and it gets thrown off. So that's why we did want to make sure we showed everybody the website because that'll be the best spot to check up on it. Once once we're at like a 90-95% confidence that we know a big step is coming, the pulverizer's moving in, we'll get that information out there. But I really do hesitate. In years past, we've given people the exact schedule as soon as the contractor gives it to us, and it does nothing but upset people throughout the whole summer because it's never right.
I can
Right.
say I know they were
I
out there.
understand.
I know they're out there today. They were doing some saw cutting, so I would be surprised to see some of the concrete removals happening soon. Like JJ said, we hesitate to give dates, but I would expect to see some of the concrete work happening sooner than later.
Yeah, I've seen some of the concrete being sawed on my street. The next question is, it's not personal, but my driveway is going to be the bottom portion is going to be removed and redone. Now, my question is that is not going to be for my expense. I'm not going to have to pay for that, correct? Because it's perfect. Other than the ADA thing, um, it's like it works. Why fix it? If I got to pay for it, I don't want it fixed. But if the city or village is going to be paying for it, then I don't have a problem.
Yep, there's no cost to any property owners of any part of this project.
Okay, I that's one of the questions I had, and then I'm sure others did too.
Nope, that's a good one. And actually, I should have called that out in the letter.
Yeah, I should have
Nope,
mentioned
for
that as
next year's
well.
projects. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
And Scott and anybody else as well, if we can look at that, I can just, if you want to send me an email and there's something we want to look at like that, a question like that, just send me your address and we've got a person on site and we'd be happy to look at it on site with you.
Okay, and no problem with that. I just want to make sure that I get my cars out of the driveway, and if they're going to redo the driveway, that I got ample amount of time and everything works well. And
Yep.
I'm more than happy to work with anybody with it. So
Great.
I guess I'm done. So I'll just mute myself now.
Thanks for your questions.
All right. How about, yep, Paul, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, hi. Just wanted to understand West Oak Street. Are we going to end up with a half a street like you did with Oak Street? Parking
Nope.
on the one side, etc.
Nope, no plans to change anything there. It's straightforward replacing the failing asphalt and the failing concrete.
Got it. And we've got contractors already booked to come in like 2 weeks to work on the house. Where do they park their giant trucks?
Well, they should really probably. Well, Ty, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah. So you said you're
It's
on.
roofing contractors,
Yeah.
so they've got to offload all the stuff, etc.
I sent them a letter so they understand what's happening.
Yeah.
But we need instructions.
So again, based on the preliminary schedule, it does be of the asphalt work going on, be available for parking in the next couple of weeks. As far as the driveway, I'm not sure if your driveway is shown to be removed or not. I don't know your address.
Either, so.
There should be paint. If it was, there'd be paint markings on there. So if you haven't seen any paint markings on
Oh,
your driveway,
the little
you're
flag on
probably
the
good.
lawn, little blue flag.
Nope, that's probably your curb stop. So if there's no pink paint, your driveway's probably not coming out. If I can look up your address, I've got all the plans in front of me. But in general, yeah, the road work should be a little bit later in the summer. So, um, but
The
it,
earlier they get here, the better. We'll
Yeah,
tell them that.
it's
yep,
411 West Oak Street, our address. And yeah,
okay,
sometime in the next month, we're going to hopefully schedule something. But we haven't scheduled it yet, actually. I need to talk
Well,
to
this
them.
delayed it.
yeah, okay. Well, yeah, like I said, they got to come through and do all the concrete work first. I can't give you an exact date when the asphalt's going to be happening, but um, like I said, that we're hoping that the concrete work precedes the asphalt work, so that when one's not available, the other one is. But no, the contractor, if we need to talk to the contractor and have them work with someone on a specific basis for a special case like that, we can talk with them.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'll be the rest of it.
Anybody else have a question? Just jump in.
Go ahead. I don't either.
Oh, we can hear you right there. I don't see your name on there, but if you did have a question, I could hear you just there.
For the people that have flowers and stuff by their mailboxes, do we need to be removing them?
I just feel that that would be a perfect one to email Tyler or myself on to look up the details. I just took a phone call with a similar question earlier. If they're flowers you really, really love, it is always better safe than sorry to maybe dig them out just because there is the chance of something unforeseen, even if they aren't planned to dig up that section of curb or driveway near them. Things change and in a day the contractor may have to. So, but if you send us an email, we can look up the specific plan and tell you if there's any work planned right by there. And it's really only going to be for anything out right near the curb or your potentially your driveway apron.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello, this is Paul again at West Oak Street, 411. Will mailboxes be affected?
Nope. Mailboxes are not planned to be removed or have to be replaced as part of this project. They should remain in place. If the contractor hits it by accident, then that will be on them to replace. But there's no plans for any of the mailboxes to be removed.
Got it. And do you have an estimate as to how much time we'll be unable to access the street? Like if or we'll have to leave our car somewhere else and walk over versus drive in and park.
So, I mean, I don't want to give you an exact time frame. I will say though, I mean, when your driveway is being worked on, if your driveway is being worked on, you should be able to park on the street and vice versa. When the street is being graded, I'm not sure if you do park on the street, you will be able to park in your driveway after that. And the street will be passable, even though we're not going to want people to park on it. It's going to be gravel, right? You can drive on it as a gravel road. When the contractor's not working, it'll be just like a gravel road. There'll be equipment parked there. But in the mornings and the evenings, it just expect it to look like a gravel road. So I wouldn't anticipate a lot of disturbances to that. But during the day when they're working and grading and paving and moving gravel around, they just don't want the cars parked on the street.
Right. But will you have access all day long while that's going on, or?
Yes. Yep.
You will.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because there was one point, I think, in the letter where it said there's 5 days for the asphalt to set or concrete to set.
Yeah.
Sounds like you wouldn't want to drive across it.
Correct. The concrete, there is a curing period. Yes, it is a 5 to 10 day curing period. Usually we can get it in 5, but sometime in that frame, the concrete, yeah, you can't drive on the concrete while it's curing. So I was specifically talking about the asphalt there. I'm sorry if I
Right.
misled you, but yeah, the concrete does need to be kept off of while it's curing. Yes.
All right, so that would involve parking on the street while the concrete.
Correct. Correct.
But
Yes.
like Tyler mentioned, the concrete work's all going to happen ahead of the asphalt. So essentially, you should be able to, if your driveway is one of these that's impacted with concrete work, you should be able to park right out in front of your home or really close to it, because they won't, at the same time, they won't be grading
Yep.
asphalt. Or
It'll be
gravel.
one or the other. Yep.
Hello.
Yep.
We can hear you.
We live on the corner of West Lawn and Oak Street and 613 West Lawn. And we were really unhappy about the way they left our yard and the easement. When they did Oak Street, we had big chunks of cement. I mean, and we're still cleaning up after that project. Now, are we going to have the same situation with this project?
I would just encourage you to, oh, he's got it up still. Uh, Jot down those emails and phone numbers,
Yeah.
Taylor and myself, and because that is part of the contracts, they're required to restore it. So if there's anything like that, we'll follow up with them, and nobody should be having to go out there and do that themselves.
No, the contractor has to clean up after themselves. So that'll
It was really bad, and we're still trying to get the yard back together. So yeah, we weren't happy with the big chunks of cement.
Yep. Nope, absolutely. Please don't hesitate to give us a call or shoot us an email.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
I had a couple questions quick.
Sure.
So just to clarify, no mailboxes will be disturbed. We have pink paint on our driveway, and our neighbors, both our neighbors as well. And the mailbox is much closer to the street than where those pink lines are. And somehow the mailbox is not going to be that's not part of the project. I just don't quite understand. You're like on top of the mailbox if you're doing the curb. So how do you not move the mailbox?
There. Well, like to Tyler's point, they may bump it if they're actually doing that, but it should be in the grass terrace, and they typically, these contractors are pretty good at, they can literally pluck the old concrete right out of the existing location, and they just get a little bit wider than that footprint, and then they frame it in that space, and they pour it back to the new concrete. So but again, nothing's for sure.
Are you saying yours is very close to the concrete? Your mailbox is very close.
Yeah.
That's your concern. Yeah. They're generally pretty good about, being pretty tight to the existing curb. Like I said, if they do make a mistake and take it out, then that would be on them to fix it at their expense. But there's no intent to have to remove any. They should be able to work within the footprint of the existing pavement and curb.
I'm also, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I'm also curious about some of these length periods of time. Everything's been very vague, and I totally understand that you guys don't want to lock into time frames and things like that, and things change. But I've never, this is the first home I've ever owned, and granted, we've been here almost 20 years, but we haven't ever had to experience anything like this. So when people say it shouldn't be that long, I don't know if that means 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months, or more. So I would love to have at least some kind of time frame. And I understand I'm not looking for dates, but some kind of ballpark for these different stages of the project, especially those that are going to impact our parking or our driveways.
Yep. Yeah. I would say, make sure you check the website. We're gonna try to keep that up to date. And as far as your driveway is going to be removed, the contractor will notify you before taking it out. They don't want cars trapped in there as well, because then that's just more of a headache for them too. So The contractor did tell us that they would let you know before your driveway's removed, and then once it can be cured and be driven on again.
Really, on a broader scale, though, I'm not looking for an estimate or anything on my house or my property. What I'm wondering is, can you just sort of go back and revisit the different stages? And when you said on, I don't know, three different occasions, I think it shouldn't be that long. And literally, I honestly I don't know if you mean, if that long means 3 days to you, or if that long means
Sure.
3 months to you. I'm not looking for like, oh, it will be 5 days or less. I'm not looking for anything like that. I'm
Yep.
just looking for a ballpark.
Yeah.
Ty,
So
if you
there's
want to, we can, yeah, kind of go high level on the schedule that Paint and
yeah,
Dolan gave us, but it
yeah,
literally will, I guess I'll caveat first with this, that it is hard for Tyler and I, this is our world, so we don't, what's normal for us is different for folks like you that
yeah.
haven't experienced it in decades. Broadly speaking, depending on your tolerance for disruption, I saw them out saw cutting today, so we could start today, and they may not be done until the end of August. So it could literally span the whole summer that something's going on. The impact of different work in the neighborhood is, it's some days you may not notice anything happening. Literally, some days there will be nothing happening, but it will still be torn up. So it's it's gonna be all summer in some aspect for sure. But then, yeah, Tyler, if you want to,
Yeah, just to mention that, and we're hoping that with that phased approach, that they will be, working at one area, and then that moves on to the next one. But I get it, you don't know what that long means. Um, I can more generally speak about it. I would say that it looks like um, the concrete work, should be a couple weeks. You know, that's kind of what you're looking, and then I would say the same thing, a couple weeks for the paving and the grading. So at any given street, right? We leave it open-ended because they did just give us kind of a general, we're going to do these streets first, then we're going to do these streets. But any one given street, they'll keep moving from street to street.
I appreciate that. No, that's great to know. And I'm not going to be calling you if it's 2 weeks and 5 days or something,
Mhm.
but if we're talking about 2 weeks and that phase, and we're still sitting after 5 weeks, yeah, I might be giving you a
Yeah,
call.
and
Um, just
that's fair. Yep.
ballparks are great. That's what I like. Just some ballpark.
I will also say too that in the broad interest of getting the best bid price that we can, we try to minimize the restrictions we put on the contractors bidding on it so that they do have flexibility. The more we say, this block is done between Monday and Wednesday on a specific date, that price for this project skyrockets. And so we're trying to be, efficient with tax dollars as well. But that does allow these companies flexibility to. So for instance, a project a few years ago, they had it graded. It was at the gravel road stage, and it sat for a very, very, very long time. And a lot of people were calling me pretty concerned about it, and it's difficult to explain to people that I don't tell these companies how to operate their business. If it's better for them to send their pavers over somewhere else, and we didn't call it out specifically so we could keep the price lower, then it may sit that way. So that's why maybe I'm just getting I had been bit enough times that I am trying to keep it vague here because I know that somebody's going to hear something, and I just know for a fact it's going to change. So I appreciate everybody's understanding on it, and we will try to update once we are given solid information.
It's got to be just a little bit of a nightmare to do this and be public relations for everyone and manage everyone's expectations when you have little control over that as well. So just want to recognize that, and we're asking questions again because we haven't ever gone through this. And,
Thank you.
we already have limited parking on Woodview. And yeah, so it's just, if we have people coming, it's like, will they have access to our house or not? Because we already have some visitors planned for the summer. So,
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
not as much as construction, contractors coming into the house, but so thank you. Thank you for
Yep.
taking the time.
Nope. Thank you for the questions.
Well, the good news is with the scope of this project this year, it should be at least another 20 or 30 years before the whole neighborhood has to deal with this again. So
Yeah,
I'll be retired.
Nice. Well, we're gonna have to postpone our block party this summer, it sounds like. Although it's been a little erratic the last couple of years, but anyway, but getting the street done and fixed up properly, that'll be a benefit. So
Yeah, thanks, y'all.
Anybody else? We've got a small enough group now. Anybody, just feel free to yell it out if you got any questions. Otherwise, again, I encourage everybody to just jot down those. We might all be friends right now, but that could change in a month. So make sure you got my contact information.
right, yeah, thanks. And you mentioned going to the website for status updates. That would be.
Yep. And we will put anything of significance. We'll probably push out through our. If you follow the Village Facebook page, we're not on TikTok or X or anything, but we do the Village Facebook page, and we try and link those directly to the website, and it'll have the more
Great.
detailed.
Yeah, we keep up with that to some extent. So yeah, very nice. Well, I'm hoping that the Sandhill Cranes aren't too unhappy with the construction either. We have a few that wander around the backyards. They cross the road sometimes, but I think they probably won't want to come near the construction site. But fortunately, there's plenty of room for them. We have a couple of new colts this year that just showed up today, little babies in the backyard. So we're hoping they make it through the summer. It's always touch and go for the cranes. So anyway, well, I think that's it for me. Anybody else got questions or whatever?
All right. Well, like I said, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Tyler anytime this summer, and appreciate everybody showing up tonight and asking a bunch of good questions. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thanks.
Thank you.